to the series anyways. Hoping to get you guys out of here on time. Thanks for being here on your Monday afternoon. Just a little, since we have kind of a small group, and as people trickle in, if you don't mind, dropping in the chat, kind of like what district you're in or what site you're at, and maybe what grade you teach or what grades you support. Get a sense of like who's in the room. While you're doing that, I'll introduce myself. My name's Jessica Sierra. I'm an ed tech resource teacher at the County Office of Ed, and I support all grades at the Linda Vista Innovation Center. So in spring, my big deal is TK and K robotics labs. So that's my big stuff in the spring. But all year long, I'm supporting middle school, a little bit of high school, and a little bit of elementary too. And I have with me today my co-host Carrie is going to be dropping that link in the chat a bunch of times as we go to get everybody caught up. And she's over here at the LVIC as well. All right, we got some national school district people in here. Worked with you guys quite a bit. Mission Vista, welcome, Stacy. Gillespie School. All right, Valley Center, welcome, Morgan. All right, I'm gonna get my slides up, and let's get us started. All right, Carrie or Pam, you mind giving me a thumbs up if you can see my slides? Thanks, Carrie. All right, so welcome to EdTech for Littles. This is the first series or webinar I'm having this year for this series, and it's just sort of general classroom EdTech tools. If you were here last year, we had very specific sessions on like robotics or podcasting, and this session's just kind of like a catch-all, any tools you might use in your everyday classroom activities. So the bit.ly is there if you guys want to follow along or if you want to bookmark it for later. My name's Jessica Sierra. Again, for those of you that just came in, I'm an Ed Tech TOSA over in the Innovation Department at the County Office of Ed. And primarily, I'm at the Linda Vista Innovation Center, where we have a whole bunch of like tech labs and career labs that we host TK through 12th grade here on like sort of field trips, sort of different workshop experiences. So there's a link there if you've never visited us before, if you're interested in what goes on over in our building. Little plug for some upcoming events. So I do the EdTech for Little series, but we also have a whole bunch of other series, webinars that we do virtually, all after school, all free. We do a Back to Basics series that's primarily the Google Suite. So Drive and Docs is coming up later this week. We'll also do slides, forms, all those things that you find in the Google Suite if you need a refresher. And then we have Carrie leads an accessibility strand. So she'll be doing unlocking accessibility with UDL later on this week on Thursday. And then at front, the bottom here, you can see our EdTech team. We tackle all kinds of things EdTech related, and our calendar of events is linked up top if you're interested in what's going on our whole school year. We're also offering this year a chance to earn professional learning credits. So we've partnered with the University of San Diego. They're the ones offering the credits, but in doing some of our webinars and some of our virtual sessions, you can apply for credits after you've completed a certain amount. So all of the information is linked up there. Essentially, the process is you register for our webinars, you attend these live sessions. I'll have a little reflection form at the end if you want to write, I think it's a 500-word reflection. And then if you compile enough of those, you can apply for credit at USD, and there's a whole form and process linked there if you're interested in earning some credit for being at all of our sessions.
And Jessica, may I just pause for 1 second?
Sure.
So we also have a sign in. Part of our credits involve having you sign into the sessions you attended. So I'm going to be putting that in the chat right now. If in the next 10 minutes or so you can like sign in with that sign in form, that would be great. So it'll be in the chat right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. And then a little plug for one of our in-person trainings that we're doing. So Carrie came up with this model of PD, and we're all trying it out this year. So it's called Experience, Create, Facilitate. It's a 2-day professional development in person. So first day is coming to our LVIC, being an observer participant in one of our labs. And then the second day is really just adults diving deep into pedagogy, strategies, standards, and giving you time to plan out your own lessons. So my experience Create Facilitate is coming up at the end of October, focused on first grade coding and robotics, but a lot of that applies anywhere from TK to 2. But it'll be a first grade robotics lab that we'll be observing while I teach. You'll be sort of taking notes, helping participate, and thinking of how you might apply this to your class. And then day 2, you come back, no kids, and we work on some professional development around that. That is a paid workshop because it is 2 days all day. So if you're interested in that, you can click this link or click the image, and it'll take you to some more information about that coming up. All right, so now we are going to dive into our PD for today. Carrie, are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll record this and host it on YouTube later, just in case you have to leave early. You can catch it later, or if you want to share with any coworkers that couldn't make it today. I'm going to be throwing a ton of tools at you today. There's not going to be a whole lot of time for like hands-on, or even a lot of demoing, but my goal is just to give you a very broad view of different tools that you could use in your class, and then hopefully we'll end around 4:45. And then that'll give you, 15 minutes should you choose to explore some of these on your own time. And I can stick around for any questions you might have as well. So we're going to first look at tools for planning, kind of teacher end tools, then some student engagement tools, some tools for student creativity, which will be more of the student tools that students could use, and then some assessment, and lastly, some games that you might want to try out. Okay, quick disclaimer that just SDCOE doesn't necessarily endorse or partner with any of these tools or programs. These are just things that we've found really helpful in our own classrooms, in classrooms that we support and coaching that we do. But always consult with your own administrator or your own district policies before implementing any new tech tool, just to make sure every district's policies are a little different. Make sure it abides within your own policies and that your administrators are okay with it. Okay, so planning tools. We're going to cover Canva, Project Read AI, and Magic School AI. First one I wanted to show you is Canva, just in case you've been not maybe living under a rock a little bit. I think Canva is pretty much out there, but there are a ton of tools in Canva that I find that not all teachers know about. So if you haven't seen Canva before, you can use it for free. You just have to get verified. I think they ask you for like a copy of your school ID. It's very simple. As long as you have a school ID or a school email, you should be able to get in no problem. And one thing I love about Canva is just all of the templates it offers. So if you've never used Canva before, it's got a big focus on like graphic design, with all of these like really ready to go, beautiful like worksheets, beautiful slides, flyers for your events. We use the comic strip templates quite a bit, so you can print out cool little comic strips. Most of them are kind of grab and go, and then of course you can go in and like edit anything that you need to edit. You can also ask it for very specific templates. So my daughter's school uses Class Dojo. I feel like a lot of schools use that, but you can ask for a dojo post template, and it'll find things that are the right parameters, like the right size, the right ratio to fit nicely into certain apps that you might be using. Another one I've seen is like Google Classroom headers, which is could be like a really funky size. Otherwise, if you just put a picture in, it doesn't always capture it like you want it to. So here's like perfectly set up ratio for Google Classroom. And you can just grab kind of a blank one and start from there, or you can grab one that you like and then open it and customize it. So then you can go in and you can change the words, you can change the colors. It's very customizable and the templates are really robust. They also have a little bit of AI going on now. So let's try Magic Media. Let's try the apps. Hmm, Trying to find where exactly the AI went. Okay, let me go
It
back
is the
to.
Magic Media.
Is it Magic Media? Oh,
Yeah.
there it just said Canva AI too. Okay. So Magic Media, or you can do Canva AI, and you can ask it to come up with something you'd like. We've been working on a medical themed lab, so I asked it to create like a medical themed worksheet just so I could get some images really quickly that had, doctors and medical related stuff without having to search. I also was playing around with some kind of elementary stuff earlier and I asked it to, let me see if I can get it back, create an addition worksheet with 10 frames. So it was a little more like text-based than I wanted, but you can go in and use the Canva editor to adjust those. My first grader has 10 frames like every day in practice. So I know that's a popular thing and you can go in and customize that using the editor. You can also ask for like custom images. So if your school mascot is like a penguin, you can say penguin holding a pencil, and it should give you some images of penguins holding pencils if you want to like use that to insert it into some of your worksheets or maybe like a Google Classroom or some kind of parent facing thing to incorporate that mascot, build a sense of community. You can get really specific with it and go back and forth editing that as well. So Canva is a really fun tool if you haven't played around with it before. Highly recommend just checking it out. It can also create slides for you, give you like a whole slideshow's worth of stuff that you can easily edit. The next tool is Project Read AI. This one is sort of a freemium model, so it is free, but it's very limited. I think it'll only give you like three different activities before you have to wait till I think it's a weekly thing. So you get like three passages a week that you can create, and then you have to wait for the next week, unless you do the paid version. But this is really great for early ed classrooms that are decoding. So it can create stories aligned to whatever phonics or reading program that you have, as long as it's one of these. I think I've hit my limit for this one, just playing around with it for you guys today. But you can see here, I asked it to use the Orton Gillingham scope and sequence to hit this concept, generate a story, and it'll give me this little story that you could then give to students. You can export it as a PDF. If you had the paid version, it would come with a cute little image. Oh, there we go. And then it also has new tools now. This is sort of a new platform, so a lot of these are beta, which means they're trying to test it out. But they have some game generators, which are kind of interesting. If you were to choose, we'll just say phonics and leave it where it's at, you could do a bingo card, and it should generate, unless I've hit the limit. Um, yeah, you can create word searches for students, word mazes, roll and reads, all around the same like one phonetic concept that you're hitting in class. So this one's an interesting kind of newer tool, and I'm sure as more people use it, it'll get a little more user-friendly and more robust. Last one is Magic School AI. If you can, give me a little thumbs up in the reaction if you've used Magic School before. It's a fairly popular one, but we're still finding a lot of people have never even heard of Magic School. Oop. Okay, I don't see a whole lot of thumbs up, so hopefully I'm showing you something new. Magic School, sorry, keep going forward. Magic School is a great tool. I'm trying to go back. Oh, goodness. If you're interested in using AI, oh my goodness. Okay, let's go back. If you're interested in using some AI tools, but you don't really know where to start, Magic School is a great place to start because it's got just about every AI teaching tool out there. There are a lot of platforms that do kind of one thing or a few things. Magic School does pretty much everything. There's worksheet generators, there's lesson plan generators. We just did a PD recently where we were showing student or teachers Magic School, and one of the teachers during our like sort of practice time created a sub plan for the next week using this lesson plan generator in like about a minute. So she just said the topic she wanted, set some parameters, and then was able to quickly generate a lesson plan that you can still go in and customize, but it's a great starting point. Let's see. Another one that I really like for early ed is the song generator. So this is really fun, and it all works a lot like if you've used ChatGPT or Google Gemini before, where you're prompting the AI to give you something. Magic School just does a really good job of sort of narrowing down the parts of the prompt that you would need to get what you'd like. So let's see. I think earlier I had our song topic be growth mindset. We're gonna write it for first grade, and it's already got Taylor Swift, so let's just go with that and say put it to the tune of Shake It Off, and then generate. And it's not always perfect, but this one's pretty good. Gives you like a little song prompt that would go along to that song if you had like the instrumental version. I try hard, I practice every day. My brain can change in its own special way. So you can tell it's doing something around growth mindset. Um, it's a fun one. We've had teachers create songs for like a play that they were doing that they needed a song that had different parts, and it can break it down to like different, maybe like five different singing parts. So that's a fun one. They also have like call and repeat generators if you're looking for like little routines to say in class. Rubric generators, email generators if you're looking for more of a professional side of things, coming up with DOK questions. Math story word problems, I know, is another really popular one. So you can ask it to do a specific grade, ask it for however many questions you'd like, the math standard, and then a story topic, and it'll generate some word problems for you. I know those are always sometimes tricky to come up with. IEP help. So with IEPs, we always want to do a disclaimer that make sure when you're using AI tools not to use any personal identifying information for the kids. So not putting in like names or ages or specific information, but you can still generally ask it like I have a student with dyslexia. I need a goal that blah, 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 and make it kind of general. And it'll help you come up with very specific goals and help break things down. So lots of different options in here from like very serious teacher side of things to silly things like the jokes and the songs. But it's a great tool to start with. It's just less graphic design kind of oriented like Canva, but still along the same lines as Canva. They're great tools to use together. Okay, let me double check. I see a lot of Okay, so we've got Carrie's handling the chat. Cool. Thank you, Carrie. All right. And then the last one is one that I just sort of recently heard about. I've honestly never used this one myself. It's kind of more of a like a admin choice, I guess, but I've heard that this is a great tool for data analysis and program monitoring. It is paid, but the early ed teachers that told me about this said it was really helpful, just to see it. It laid out progress of students really well. So they found it really helpful for like this individualized instruction piece and to monitor how students are doing. So that is a tech tool if you're interested in more like student data. That might be something to look into. I know they have some kind of free trial, but this would be more of probably a school-wide decision. Okay, so now we're going to go on to engagement. These are some really simple tools you can incorporate into your classroom to boost student engagement. All of these ones are free. Go Noodle, if you've never heard of Go Noodle, it is fantastic for like brain breaks, movement breaks, indoor recess. We've had some like weird humid rain recently. And also, so there's a lot of like calming and breathing techniques in there. So I see a lot of teachers using Go Noodle, but I'll always get like one or two teachers in our labs who are like, "What is this video from?" And I'm like, "Go Noodle, you've never heard of Go Noodle." So they do have their own website that you can log into that sort of organizes their content a little bit better than their YouTube channel, but they do have a YouTube channel. Both are free, but if you're already kind of using YouTube or you like putting together playlists, you can find a lot of their stuff on here. If you don't want to use this, like go into a whole nother program, but they also have their own website that organizes stuff really well. They have some printable activities. Just to give you guys an idea of what I use them for. So I use this cleanup song in
Clean
every
up,
lab I do with
clean,
littles.
clean, clean up.
Sing it like a cowboy.
Clean up, above. It's time to kick up all our stuff. Clean up, clean up.
Sing it like a doggy.
Clean up,
So silly songs like that can help with routines. When I get students, I don't have the luxury of like establishing routines with them over time, but videos like this are great for me because as kids, some kids clean up faster than others. They can come back to the circle and do this little dance while their friends are cleaning up. So there's a lot of really helpful, like really quick routine songs that I use because I don't have the luxury of time of like setting up those routines with them ahead of time. And then this is another one we use when they come back from lunch sometimes.
Ready to
It's
shine
just a
bright?
simple breathing
Let's do this.
exercise.
Breathe in,
Just like you've done
Hold.
box breathing, but it's star breathing.
breathe out. Respira profundo.
But they also incorporate a lot of
Hold.
Spanish. There's a ton of
Exhale.
ASL videos, to where it'd be a normal video like this, but it would have an ASL interpreter sort of in the corner, and subtitled videos. So really accessible for all the students. Really quick, easy tool to boost engagement. Another sort of similar one, at least on the mindfulness side, is the Calm app. So I didn't know until recently that the Calm app had its own Calm Kids section. I thought it was free for all teachers, but I guess it's just free through people that have Kaiser. So if you have a Kaiser as your benefits, as your health benefits, you can access Calm app for free. But they do give like a teacher free trial. And then Headspace is free for all educators, and they have similar stuff on there. It's just a little bit less robust on the kids side of things. But if you have the Calm app, you can look for Calm Kids, and they have all these mindfulness videos that are like 5 minutes long, 3 minutes long, identifiable popular characters, breathing like Moana, learning to meditate when you're having frustration with Paw Patrol. They also have nap time stories, which I know most kids at this age aren't napping, but I know TK and K, there's usually like some kind of quiet time after lunch. You can pick how long you want the nap time stories to last because there's a lot of like just sort of calming sounds in between the story part. So you can adjust it from being anywhere from like 7 minutes to like 30 minutes. And it'll just adjust that like quiet time noise. So they would still be able to sort of hear the nap time story, but you can make it shorter. And they have some cool calming movement videos, where it's just sort of yoga-ish, but more of just like stretching and moving to calm down maybe after they come in from recess. Let me try to find those. So here are the movement videos. So three to 5 minutes of just different movements they can do sitting down or standing up to sort of center themselves before you transition into something else. So that was really a cool find for me because I use Calm all the time for myself, but I didn't realize they had the kids section. And then last for our engagement is Kahoot. This has been around for a long time. It hit a huge high during the pandemic. A lot of teachers were using Kahoot because you can use it virtually. So I put a link there to just their Discover Kahoot. It is one of those kind of freemium plans where you can pay to have extra features, but a lot of the free stuff is really good, unless you really want to be like having kids creating their own Kahoots, or get really deep into the customization. The free version is pretty robust, unless you want those extra pieces. There's a large library with different partners, like big name brands like Lego and Disney. So you can go to the Lego Kahoots and they have some templates of stuff that you can use. I was looking at the Hello Kitty one earlier where it's got just some backgrounds you could use, or it has some kind of icebreaker ones that you can just grab it and go without having to customize anything. The paid accounts do also have some AI features. So similar to Magic School, where you can type in like what you're trying to assess and it'll come up with some questions, like suggested questions for you. So with the paid version, you can get that. This is also a great tool for assessment. So I've sort of plugged it into the assessment part, but I won't really talk about it much there because you have a lot of information on this slide. But it's a great kind of way to just do some icebreakers to warm up, or do something in the middle just to recap what they know, or wait till you're done with a lesson and then use it like a quiz to assess their learning. So lots of different options with Kahoot, but that's a fun one too. Oh, I forgot to throw this one in there. So Brain Pop is another engagement one. It's kind of similar to, I guess it's not that similar to Kahoot, but it has its own videos with its own characters. And what's cool about Brain Pop is it's interactive. So at these little sort of red markers, it would stop, pose a question. If students are working independently, they can type it in. I use that a lot with my middle schoolers. Or you can do whole group, like with early ed, you would probably want to do stuff whole group where they don't have to type it in. We're just discussing. It is paid, so it is something you would have to purchase either as an individual account or like a school account. But they have a huge library of different content from social studies to science to math. Really cute characters, funny videos that do teach a lot, and then a lot of lesson plans and resources for teachers on the back end too. I didn't go into this one too much because it's one of those paid ones, and I'd rather spend time on free stuff to share with you guys. But if you haven't seen Brain Pop, it's also been around a long time. I know during the pandemic, I used Brain Pop a lot because you can assign videos to students. So that's another good tool also. Okay, so these ones are going to be student-facing tools. These are tools that even kindergarten could use in a lot of cases. They're pretty easily picked up by kids if you put in the proper like supports. Some literacy tools to start us off. So Epic Books is a great digital library, free for educators, but it's got this weird caveat where it's only accessible to students during school hours. So if you're looking to use it during school, it's perfect because it's this massive library that they could use. And I believe I'll have to double check because I haven't checked in if it's still the case, but you used to be able to allow parents to use it over summer. So if the kids had a school account, then as they went into summer, the rules kind of loosened up and they could still use it during like what would be school hours, even though technically they're not in school, as long as they're using their school account. Let me see, I should be signed in. So this one has a lot of just audiobooks and read alouds that you can access. Let me see if I can get logged in. Here we go. Okay, so you can choose by Lexile level. You can have it read to them. So let me see if I can see my recent ones. No, okay, we'll just go from here. So there's audiobooks like Make Way for Ducklings, where it's just the audio.
But it
It's
was
just gonna
no
play
too
and read
proud
to
to
them.
answer. But the people on
There's also the read to me's, which are cool, and it'll flip the page and also highlight the words.
Epic
which is really
Originals
interesting.
presents Scaredy Monster Meets Naughty Monster. Written by Mika Hashimoto. Illustrated by Steve Lamb. On Sunday afternoons,
So
Mommy
if you
Monster
have students
always
that are
brings
learning how
Scaredy
to
Monster.
read, this could be maybe a center that they can access. They can follow along with the words and also hear the audio. So yeah, really robust platform and free with the caveat that it's like during school hours. Okay, the next literacy tool is similar, Storyline Online. My own first grade daughter loves Storyline Online. She could watch it like all day long. This is one of her favorites. So it's famous actors that are doing read alouds. It's kind of this partnership with the Screen Actors Guild. So Bob Odenkirk reads this Being Frank story.
Your singing is
It's
kind
kind
of
of
shrieky.
animated, but
Frank told
not
Carol.
with the words.
Carol
so that's
stomped
kind
away.
of lacking in this one. But they can
Frank
watch the
always told the
animation.
truth to adults. Your
can hear
breath
the read
smells
aloud.
funny. He
The
told
actors
his
are usually
teacher,
pretty,
Ms. Zaroma. She
you
said,
know, have a lot of emotion, actors, so they know what they're doing. Pro tip that I've seen teachers do, and actually I don't know if Pam's still on here, but she told me about this. You can, since these are on YouTube, you can put at the back of like your library books, in your class library, so that students, if they had an iPad or a device, could scan the code and kind of have that choice whether they want to read the book or read along with the book and also see the video or hear the actor reading it to them. So that's an interesting way to like incorporate the choice of technology in your like library station. But Storyline Online is another great one. All free. They're all on YouTube. They do have a website, but they also have a YouTube channel where you can just find all these videos as well. Okay, these are a little bit more techy. So Chrome Music Lab is just a really fun way to explore sound if you're doing sound in science or doing some kind of music unit. It's all these different, just sort of like experimental ways that students can access music. So I do a podcasting, a TK2 podcasting lab here. And so this is one of our warm-ups where they can just kind of play around in this app for a while. This one's the spectrogram. They love this one. Best with headphones because you'll hear a lot of that over like 20 different kids using this. But it's super fun. There's other ones where they can make songs. They can do kind of voice visualizations. I'm not sure if this will work. Yeah, so they could like sing or talk and it will visualize what their voice or their song might look like. So that's a fun one. If you're interested in doing podcasting, we actually have a training in January, another virtual session, all about just arts and media education with littles, where I'll go way more in depth with how to do podcasting. But there's a lot of free recorders out there if you're wanting kids to practice those listening and speaking skills. Recording them or having them like interview a partner is a great way to build some of those skills up in a fun way where they can listen to themselves back. They love that. They can add some music into it. I have a list of podcasts for the classroom if you want to incorporate like listening to podcasts. And then also a couple of tools that you can look into for recording. But really, it could be any voice recorder app. Almost any device you have in your class, iPad, tablet, Chromebook, has something on there that's just voice recorder. And that works perfectly because they're probably not going to be doing a whole bunch of editing. But if you wanted them to do editing, stuff like GarageBand is free, or AudioMass is a Chromebook web-based recorder that you could use too. Chatterpix is another really fun one that I've seen teachers use as sort of a project if they were sort of like doing a research project instead of doing a presentation. They can create animations based on whatever it was that they researched. I'm going to play this quick video. I think it's like 30 seconds, but it captures sort of what Chatterpix does. So they could take a picture or use like an image they pull off the internet or that you provide, add stickers, they tell it where the mouth is, and then they record their own audio. So it's really simple, but the kids think it's so silly. And one way I've seen teachers use it is they had to research a certain animal. And so someone was showing me a student had like, I think it was seals was her animal. And so each slide in her video was a different picture of a seal. And she would say, you know, I am a seal and seals eat blah, 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 blah. I am a seal and seals live in this area. But it looked like the seal was talking, but it was her cute, precious little 6-year-old voice. So it's a cute little project for kids to do. They're getting a little bit of like exposure to creating digital media, but in a real fun way, and also being able to present the information that they've learned. It's a creative way to do an assessment. And also free. And that the program that it's on is Duck Duck Moose, and they also have a bunch of other kind of like fun little things that you could do with the kids. But this one seemed the most educational. The other ones are just sort of for fun. All right, so AR encoding. This is one of my favorite tools, but it's honestly one of those like text for tech's sake. It doesn't add too much to the learning, but it's just a really fun kind of spin on things. Really, essentially what it is it's coloring pages that you can download and have kids color. But if you use the Quiver Vision app, it will bring their coloring page to life. So it is sort of this weird gray area of being paid and free. The coloring pages are free to download, but to access some of the like augmented reality pieces, you need the app. There are a lot of free coloring pages that you could just use the app on, including the state parks pack. But some of the funner ones, like there's a robot one, you have to have the paid version of the app to use. And unfortunately, the app is like device specific. So you couldn't just have one account and like apply it to a bunch of your iPads. I put it on my phone at first to test it out, and now I can only use it on my phone. If I wanted to put it on an iPad, I would have to pay for like a separate account. So just be aware if you're going to buy the paid version, have like one classroom iPad that is designated for it. But I'll show you the Monarch Butterfly one. This is my favorite one. And I know a very popular unit from like PK to first grade. But the kids would color it. They can color it however they'd like. And then once they're done, you scan the QR code in the app and scan the page. And then now their butterfly that they colored is flying around off the page on the screen. But it's very personal because it's however they colored it.
And beloved butterfly species in North America.
And then this one, life cycle. So they'll have colored the cocoon, they'll have colored the little egg on the leaf, and they can click in different places to hear it talk or read about what that life stage is. And then they can place their butterfly sort of anywhere in the room. So it's not a huge educational piece, but it is like super engaging for the kids as like a little extra piece in maybe a unit you're already doing. And that is part of the state parks packet. So that one is free. You could use that app, use it on the app without having the paid version. And then last for this piece is Scratch Junior. So screen coding is definitely tricky for kinders. First grade sort of depends if they've had some exposure to it before. But by second grade for sure, they're ready to do some screen coding, especially in Scratch Junior. It's very user friendly. It's a free app. It works on iPads, tablets, Chromebooks. And within the coding, it's block coding. So let me see if I can pull up Scratch Junior. It's very simple coding that let's see if I can get them there. They're just dragging and dropping these little blocks to make a little character do something on the screen. You can use it to do animations. They can build their own games. We've used it a lot to have students tell stories. So it's just like one character talking to another character, maybe telling some information that they've learned from a different unit. But there's a ton of stuff you can do with it. I'll play just a little, maybe like 20 seconds of this one, so you can get an idea of what they do.
We're working on Scratch Junior, which is a programming language for young kids, specifically designed for 5 to 7-year-olds, and is designed with them in mind, so it's developmentally appropriate, and children can create animated stories, interactive games, collages, or anything they imagine.
I like Scratch Junior because there's so many programs that you could make. It's like you can make your own movie. You basically get to make your own game and do it yourself.
A few years ago.
And they have a lot of tutorials, even for the students, that are kind of like step by step what blocks they need to add. And then they can put their own spin on like what the character might look like, what the background might look like, but it really like lays out easily what the code would be. And then to go along with that, there's a new curriculum that they've also put out called Coding as Another Language, which I love because it tackles coding almost like you're teaching a second language, because really it's the language of computers, and it does sometimes feel like it's a completely foreign language when you really get into coding. So it takes it step by step on like, what is an algorithm? What is a code? What is a pattern? And it breaks it down into really simplistic pieces. And a lot of the very first lessons aren't coding at all, or not screen-based at all. It's coding using movement, coding using dance, coding using art and crafts, and then you can gradually get into the Scratch Junior platform. So both of those are free. The Coding as Another Language is really robust. I mean, you could do it all year long if you looked at all of their curriculum and kind of broke it up. So there's a lot there if you're interested in coding. Okay, assessment. I've sort of already talked about Kahoot, so this link will just link you back to that slide. But in the same way you can use it for engagement, you could use it at the end of units for assessment. Quizzes is another one that's very similar to Kahoot, but it'll create flashcards as well as assessments. There's a lot of assessments that are already ready to go. So I looked up assessments on recycling, and it gives you these really simple kind of cards that you can go through whole group, or you can assign it to students if you had like a Google Classroom and had it linked up. But yeah, there's a ton in quizzes. It's a little bit better, I feel like, for the upper elementary, but it's another assessment tool that you could use just as easily as Kahoot, and also free. Okay, a couple last ones. These are just sort of the funsies for if kids are getting on computers and you just want them to be able to play around and do some educational games. I know a lot of times at centers, at least one of them is kind of like a computer game station, and some platforms for that are safe and educational. PBS Kids Games is great. It's got a whole section of games that are just in Spanish. And then all of these are like very recognizable characters. Wild Kratts is very like all about the environment, environmentally friendly stuff. Daniel Tiger is all about SEL. So if you're looking for social emotional games that they could play. The website is pretty open. It might be a lot for kids to handle, but on the iPad app, which is also free, you can actually only download like the games that you want them to play. So even though it looks like there's a ton of games, it would only be like maybe the couple that you have chosen to download. So that's a really good one. And then Starfall's been around for also a million years. But it's probably more educational than PBS Kids. But they have a ton of games that you can play as far as like colors, ABCs, reading, math, into upper grades, doing division, multiplication, seasonal games. And both of these are completely ad-free, completely free. So there's no chance of them getting like weird pop-ups or things like that. Okay, so that was a lot to throw at you in about 40 minutes, but I can stick around if you have any questions. Again, there's my email if you have questions later, or you maybe want to try out some of these tools and want a thought partner or some coaching. That's what we're here for at EdTech, so happy to work with anybody that would like the help. Again, there's the link for professional learning credits and our calendar of events, and I hope to see some of you guys back in January. Thanks for coming.
Jessica, before everyone leaves, let me share with them the professional learning unit form.
Oh, yes.
Great. So everyone, that was a great session. And if you are interested in getting those professional learning units, we have here the reflection form. And so some of you completed the sign-in. Thank you for doing that. This is the second piece, which is going to be that form where you can reflect, and then we can use that to help you get credits. Sorry, that
Awesome.
is 1 second. That is just the information, and this is the form coming in 1 second. Jessica, can you click on that and make sure it works?
Yep.
Great.
Looks
Thank you,
good.
everyone.
Thanks for coming, everyone.